All right, let's dive into one of the absolute strangest, most unsettling stories in the entire book of Exodus. Seriously, it's a story about a divine mission, a terrifying, out-of-the-blue attack, and a hidden clue that changes absolutely everything.
So here's the central puzzle that just doesn't make any sense on the surface. God spends all this time convincing Moses, you're my guy, go to Egypt, save the Israelites. And then as Moses is literally on his way to do that exact thing, God tries to kill him. It's a massive contradiction. But stick with me here, because the answer is truly fascinating.
Okay, so let's set the scene a little bit. The story kicks off just like you'd think it would. God is giving Moses his marching orders. After all those years living in exile, it's finally time. Go back to Egypt, face down Pharaoh. Pretty straightforward, right? And God's instruction, it is crystal clear. He even throws in a little reassurance, saying, hey, the coast is clear, the guys who wanted you dead are gone. It's a direct command, no ambiguity, no weird riddles. There is zero hint of the terrifying twist that's just around the corner. And Moses, he does what he's told. He gets his family together, grabs that special staff from God, and he hits the road. So far, so good. Everything seems to be going exactly to plan. Now, this is where things get really cool. The biblical text itself is, well, it's kind of sparse. It really only gives you the skeleton of the story. To understand what's really happening beneath the surface, you have to turn to the ancient commentators. These were scholars who saw every single word as a breadcrumb, a potential clue leading to a much deeper truth. And our main guide on this journey is the legendary 11th century scholar Rashi. This guy was like a master detective for the biblical text. He worked from the belief that nothing, not one word, was there by accident. And he shows us how these tiny, seemingly insignificant phrases can unlock a whole world of meaning. Okay, for example, get this. God tells Moses the men who wanted him dead are dead. Seems simple, but Rashi digs in and says, hold on, they weren't literally dead. He says these men, Dathan and Abiram, had just become dirt poor. They'd lost everything. And in the ancient world, becoming totally impoverished was seen as a kind of social death. It was like you were dead. A small detail, but it shows you've got to read between the lines. And this next one is even better. The text just says Moses put his family on an ass, a donkey. Who cares, right? But Rashi explains that this wasn't just any old donkey. This was the donkey, the very same one Abraham rode on his journey to sacrifice Isaac, the same one that tradition says the Messiah will one day ride into Jerusalem. Wow. All of a sudden, a boring travel detail connects Moses' mission to the entire epic story of his people. So, keeping that in mind, that every single word matters, we finally come to the most shocking part of the journey. Moses and his family, they stop for the night at some inn, a little lodging place on the road. And this is when things take a sudden, terrifying turn. And there it is, just bam, out of absolutely nowhere. The Lord, the same God who sent him on this critical mission, shows up and tries to kill him. I mean, the whiplash is stunning. One moment he's the chosen hero of the story, the next he's the target of God's deadly anger. The text just drops this bombshell and leaves us hanging with so many questions. Who is him anyway? Is it Moses? Some think it might be his son. Why would God do this now? Is he trying to sabotage his own plan? And what's the deal with the inn? The whole mission to save Israel is about to collapse before it even gets started. The key to solving this entire puzzle comes from maybe the most unexpected person in the whole scene. Moses' wife, Zipporah. While Moses is, being attacked by God and is pretty much helpless, she understands what's happening. She takes charge. The commentators are pretty clear. Zipporah is the real hero of this story. So here it is, the big reveal. Rashi explains that this attack had absolutely nothing to do with the mission to Egypt. It was about a fundamental life-or-death obligation, a sacred covenant that Moses had delayed, the circumcision of his son. Now, Rashi doesn't just paint Moses as some neglectful dad. He points out that Moses was in a really tough spot. On one hand, God had just commanded him to get to Egypt, immediately. On the other hand, circumcising his newborn son right before a long, dangerous journey would put the baby's life at risk during the 3-day recovery. So he made a judgment call, prioritize the mission, and do the ritual once they were safely in Egypt. So what was the trigger? What was the last straw? Rashi says it happened when they got to the inn. Moses' first thought was to get them all settled, practical stuff, lodging, food. He busied himself with everyday travel arrangements before taking care of this critical covenantal duty. And that That lapse in priorities is what put his own life in mortal danger.
What follows is just an incredibly dramatic sequence. The commentary describes an angel appearing like a serpent, literally swallowing Moses from head to toe. Zipporah sees this terrifying vision, and in a flash, she gets it. She knows exactly why this is happening. Without hesitating, she grabs a piece of sharp flint, performs the circumcision on her son herself, and then touches the foreskin to Moses' feet. It's a symbolic act to appease God's anger, and instantly, the angel lets him go.
Right after this ordeal, Zipporah cries out this very strange phrase, "You are truly a bridegroom of blood to me." I mean, what does that even mean? Rashi clarifies that she's actually speaking to her newly circumcised son. Her words are this mixture of pure terror and relief. She's basically screaming, "Because of this bloody ritual for you, my bridegroom, my husband Moses was almost killed."
So what's the big takeaway here? Why is this bizarre, frightening little story even in the Bible? Well, it's there to teach a really powerful lesson. But it's a lesson that only really clicks when you look at it through the lens of commentary. Suddenly, all the puzzle pieces fit. The seemingly random attack was actually a direct consequence of neglecting a primary responsibility. Zipporah's strange words are now a perfectly clear expression of the horror she just witnessed. And the whole incident is transformed. It's not a story about a chaotic, violent God. It's a high-stakes lesson that no one, not even God's chosen prophet, on God's chosen mission, is above the fundamental rules of the covenant.
At the end of the day, this is the power of interpretation. Without it, we're left scratching our heads, looking at a God who seems totally erratic. But with the insights from commentators like Rashi, the story just snaps into sharp focus. It becomes a powerful drama about getting your priorities straight. Your relationship with God has to come even before the mission for God.
And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? This whole incredible story was just hiding there in plain sight. It makes you think, how many other ancient stories that we read, that we think we know, are holding some completely different, deeper meaning, just waiting for the right key to unlock it all?